We about to dress the culture. Go tell a friend. We about to dress the culture, We about. What it do, it's your boy Big Wall, back to you with another video, here to address the culture. First thing I want you to do, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. It's very, very, very important. Hit that little bell on the side, click all, be a part of the culture, so anytime I drop a video, you'll be the first one to get it. Now check it out. Now, Hall of Fame and TNT analyst Charles Barkley has always been the one to speak his mind and tell it how it is, especially when it comes to the subject of black people in this country. Now, on March 13, 2020, Breonna Taylor was murdered when Kentucky police officers entered her home, shooting her 5 times. Now, it was a wrongful death because they suspected that her house was subject for a drug raid, but they were incorrect. Now, entering the home, they punched the door with a battering ram. Mr. Walker, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, fearing that it was an intruder, he reached for his gun and let off 1 shot, wounding an officer. He and other officers returned 5 shots, while a third began blindly shooting through Mrs. Taylor's window and patio door. Now, Mr. Walker was arrested, but later released after all charges was dropped. He's suing them to get that expunged. Now, fast forward now, a grand jury decided not to charge any of the officers in the killing of Breonna Taylor. Instead, they indicted one of the former detectives for reckless firing into another apartment during the raid of Mrs. Taylor's home. Now, you know this verdict sparked outrage throughout the black community. But Charles Barkley took it to TNT to speak his mind about the subject, and this is what he had to say.
It's bad the young lady lost her life, but you know, we do have to take into account that her boyfriend did shoot at the cops and shot a cop. So like I say, even though I'm really sorry she lost her life, I don't think that we can just say we can put this in the same situation with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery. I just don't believe that.
Now that I missed some, I know this 2020 and it's so easy to look up the details about whatever happens now. But from what I understand is that it was a wrongful death, and that the only reason he fired at the police because he thought there was an intruder, and they started shooting in his home and they wasn't even supposed to be there. Now, when Mr. Walker was released from prison after all charges was dropped, this is what he had to say.
I was laying in bed with Breonna around midnight watching a movie. All of a sudden, someone started beating on the door. They refused to answer when we yelled, "Who is it?" 15 minutes later, Breonna was dead from a hail of police gunfire, and I was in police custody. The police arrested, jailed, and charged me with murder of a police officer. I was raised by a good family. I am a legal gun owner, and I would never knowingly shoot a police officer. Breonna and I did not know who was banging on the door, but the police know what they did. The charges brought against me were meant to silence me and cover up Breonna's murder. For her and those that I love, I can no longer remain silent.
All charges were dropped, so that means that the Kentucky Police Department understand that they did something wrong. And Breonna Taylor's family was awarded a settlement, which again lets me know that they know that something was wrong. But still, no charges was brought against the officers that murdered Breonna Taylor in her home. Something's wrong with this picture. But let's take a journey down the history of Charles Barkley. For some reason, when it comes to the subject of black people in this country, he always seemed to be on the side that we're not on. This is what he had to say back on May 2nd of 2015 when he was being interviewed by Rachel Nichols on CNN, and the subject of black people being killed by the hands of the police came up, and this is what he had to say.
Cops bad, of course they are. But we need the cops, especially in the black community. We need the cops. They do a fantastic job. Do they make mistakes? The thing that bothers me the most is everybody wants to be a Monday morning quarterback.
Right.
But none of us know what we react when guns, adrenaline, pressure, scary situations. So I think we have to be really careful judging the cops in all these situations.
But some mistakes go beyond just mistakes. Some of these cases, they've shown that the officers have acted in a way that they shouldn't have acted.
But I'm saying,
we saw what happened in North Charleston. A guy is running away from a cop and he shoots a gun at him.
And we should prosecute those guys. But I think we have to always look at the evidence, because I say everybody think how they would react under pressure, and it's not that simple. But when cops make mistakes, we should make them pay. But we should also understand the stress they're under, the stress that they're under, and because we need to work with them.
Now let me get this straight. We need to sympathize with the officers that's killing us, because we need to understand the frustrations that they're going through. Forget the frustration that we face every day at the hands of them, because they're killing us for no reason. Now you know that came with some backlash, and instead of him apologizing and seeing things through the eyes of Black America, he doubled down on it. This is what he had to say.
As I've said before, and some people criticize me, and I told them to kiss my ass, because I can. We in the Black community, we need the cops. Cops are important. They're very significant. We as Black people got to do a better job of policing ourselves. The cops have made some mistakes. I think everybody has to admit that. But we just can't, as Black people, every time something go wrong, just say it's the cops' fault. We have did some damage to our own neighborhoods, and we've got to do better in that aspect. But we need the cops. They're important. If it wasn't for the cops, we'd be living in the wild, wild west. Yeah. But it's not as simple as that. It's always the cops' fault. We as Black people have made some mistakes. We got to do better. We got to do a better job of policing ourselves. There's no right or wrong answer. That's the one thing about being Black. Black people only like you when you say what they want you to say. But I've been in that game a long time, so that doesn't faze me. I'm a big boy. I can handle the heat.
Now let's fast forward to now. The NBA players decided to put words of encouragement to the Black people of America on the back of their jerseys to let us know that they're in a fight and they're willing to use their platforms to speak out to try to make change. But Charles Barkley has something to say about that too. This is what he had to say.
These people are under tremendous stress. I know this stuff is important and significant, but some of these people just like, can I just watch basketball or baseball or hockey? And so I think you got to be able to do both, and the players got to navigate both.
I agree there's got to be action, but I also think that if the players return to the floor and everything just looked the same, then it would be like...
No, it's not going... No, I didn't say it had to...
That's why I'm saying
no.
The message out front, but obviously...
I'm saying you have to...
Words have to have...
Yes, but I'm saying though,
action.
You just can't beat people over the head, because people watch sports to get away from reality. And right now, their reality is different. We have never seen anything like this in our lifetime, this pandemic. I mean, we've lost hundreds of thousands of people. All these small businesses are gone. All the hospitality, these restaurants trying to sustain with 1/3 people. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on. Like I say, I'm never gonna say just go back to basketball, but I think these guys got to be really careful.
Now, you remember in the beginning of the video when I played the clip when he said that Breonna Taylor's case is not like George Floyd. Other words, we shouldn't treat it with the same respect as we do the George Floyd case. But when people like Steven Jackson, Nick Cannon, and Ice Cube out there on the front line protesting for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the Black lives that we lost, this is what he had to say.
Sean Jackson, Steven Jackson, Nick Cannon, Ice Cube, man, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, y'all want racial equality, we all do. I don't understand how insulting another group helps our cause. And the only person called y'all on it was Kareem. We can't allow Black people to be prejudiced also, especially if we're asking for white folks to respect us, give us economic opportunity, and things like that. I'm so disappointed in these men, but I don't understand how you beat hatred with more hatred. That stuff should never come up in your vocabulary, and it should never come up in your heart. I don't understand it. I'm never gonna accept it. And I'm asking you guys, I'm begging you guys, man. You guys are famous, you got a platform. We gotta do better, man. I want allies. I don't want to alienate anybody. And to take shots at the Jewish race, the white race, I just don't like it because it's not right. And I had to call them on it because it's really been on my heart.
Now let me address the culture. What Maya Angelou say, when people show you who they are, believe them. And every chance that Charles Barkley get, he show us who he is. So like they always say, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And for the record, Mr. Barkley, we not asking for nothing. We tired of asking. We demanding. Things are gonna change one way or another. But you let me know, do you feel like Charles Barkley got a point in everything that he say? Or do you feel like when it come to black people, he always seem to be on the other side of the fence? Hey, like I say, I'm always down for a good conversation, and you can catch me in the comments. This is your boy Big Wall, and this is Address the Culture. And remember, your culture makes you who you are, so make sure they respect it. I'ma catch you on the next video. I'm out. We about to address the culture. Yeah, we about to address the culture.